station number 2, our respiratory station, hosted by your one and only Scott Leonard.
Yay!
Welcome. We're excited to have you, kind of. We're glad you're watching this, and we hope you enjoy. Take it away.
Wow, what an introduction. So Donna called me and asked me to go over some basic respiratory stuff. So we'll start with like a nasal cannula. We all know that cannulas come with infant, pediatric, adult sizes. The biggest thing is we don't want the things that go up the nose.
Prongs.
The prongs. To include more than like 50% of the nair. Usually 2 liters is good. I know a lot of times when we get called, you guys call us to come out and pick up a kid from Children's, you say we need high flow. If we can do 3 liters through this, it's kind of like ghetto makeshift high flow. It's enough. Over 3 liters is starting to burn if it's not humidified, so it's pretty uncomfortable. So usually 1 or 2 liters, and then 3 liters if you're calling it high flow. Just makeshift high flow. Any questions on the nasal cannula?
I needed to know that.
Yeah, that's really
I'll just let you know so you don't think this is.
that was helpful.
I also notice like when I'm here or I'm picking up kids here, we have these simple face masks, and I've seen a lot of them run at like 1 liter, and that's just bad. It needs to be run at least 5 liters to flush out the carbon dioxide. Otherwise, we're going to start having kids that are becoming hypercapnic because there's nothing for it to go. So, I mean, I know a lot of times the kids aren't tolerating cannulas. We'll switch them to the mask and put them on a 1 liter through the mask, but that's just not flushing out their CO2. So we need to do something a little different. You know, either put it at the 5 liters if we're going to use that, or we can maybe go to a Venturi system. Mackenzie.
Amy, we're on it.
We were being positive, and hopefully you were. So we can just dial it into, if they run a 1 liter cannula, they weren't tolerating very much, we can figure out the FiO2 by, if room air is 21% oxygen, 1 liter adds 3% to that, so 1 liter is 24, and it goes up 4% for every liter after that, up till 6. So a 2 liter cannula would be like 28%.
Right.
Amy and I used to work with these little dots that you see put in the bottom of these. And now they're a little different. So 1 canister, the thing pops on. The arrow points to the percentage on the barrel. And then the liter flow is right next to it. So for this would be 3 liters for 28%.
All right.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Yep. She also asked me to touch on the continuous. Amy made up a cool little continuous treatment nebulizer sheet that you find in the bedroom. This sheet is used for our small volume nebulizers. So,
Are all our nebulizers small volume?
yes,
Yeah.
all our nebulizers are.
Mm-hmm.
So these ones. And if we're going to put a kid on 15 milligrams, which is usually the standard dose of what we're doing for an hour, Amy broke it down that it's 7.5 milligrams of albuterol. So on our big multi-dose vial of albuterol, it'll be 1.5 milliliters to give it 7.5 milligrams. So we fill this up 1.5 times. No, 3 times.
Okay.
It's been a long day. And then mix it with 4.5 milliliters of sterile saline. And then we'll run over a half hour and then repeat after the half hour mark.
With assessing in between.
With assessing in
So
between.
it's a, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it needs to be run, if they need oxygen, we're going to run it at 8 liters.
They need oxygen, we're gonna run 8
If they have
liters
a,
into that.
right, if they have an O2 requirement, 8 liters.
Don't need oxygen and nebulizers.
All right, so just the same tubing off the tank into the bottom of the nebulizer.
Yep.
It's set at 8 liters.
Right.
Okay.
And then the large volume nebulizers, which I've seen the dosing sheet around here for this one too. That's the dosing sheet that's in the book at the desk. that's for the Misty Heart nebulizer, which is this one. I know that the 15 milligram one, or the 3 hour, is the one that's highlighted. This is the tricky one, because I didn't know this for a long time, is that, say we're going to do 15 milligrams for 2 hours. It has 6 milliliters of albuterol and then a total milliliter dosage of 60 altogether. So you'd only put in 54 milliliters of sterile saline. Not, I used to put the 60 milliliters in with the 6 and it had 66. Not right.
All right. And we don't typically do this because we're not running long-term.
We don't have those, right?
No.
We're looking. And Scott, what did you call that again? What
Misty
kind
Heart.
of- Misty Heart.
Mm-hmm.
We like to do more continuous, you think?
And then this gets filled in the bottle. Corrugated tubing comes off to an aerosol mask, which you can use as a Benny mask for.
The corrugated tubing comes with it?
You can buy corrugated tubing. It's cheap. It's like $10 a box. Or we can find some. And then this gets run in 11 liters just for the particle deposition, which is up at the top of the sheet. It says how fast it should be run for the 11 liters. And then assess after a half hour. You want to make sure. O2 tanks all the way off.
Ready, steady.
Ready, steady, lefty, loosey, or on this, it's written on the key.
Okay.
Once it's bled out, unscrew this. That comes up. Our new tank comes in. Make
What
sure
happens if you don't bleed it out?
it's just gonna pop.
Okay.
Makes it real
That
loud.
would be good tip.
Yeah, no, it makes a loud popping sound and it hisses, and then you look funny.
People look at you.
Yeah. So then you have your new tank. Make sure that there's an O-ring inside. It's the gold piece that's in there. Put it on. Your prongs go in the little holes. Finger tight. And then turn it back on. Make sure it doesn't leak.
Great. Thank you.
How do you know it's not leaking?
You'll hear
Your
it.
hiss.
Oh, you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be.
And just make sure we do it in the stand. We aren't have it standing on a table or anything, because if it falls off and this severs, it'll go through a concrete wall.
This
You ready?
that valve.
Just a little added information about our oxygen tanks that we would also like to present the staff when applying oxygen on a patient in a room. We have our tank set up right here, and we're going to have Amy just do a brief explanation of some sounds that you might hear, which necessarily doesn't mean that the tank is on. So here's Amy's little version of what to look for in an oxygen tank when applying oxygen to a patient.
Okay, you should know that there are 2 valves in every oxygen tank. One at the outlet where the oxygen tubing is hooked up, and one that's actually hooked up to the tank, which allows the oxygen to flow out of the entire tank. When you open the tank in the on position, the gauge tells you how much oxygen is left, how many pounds of pressure are left. When you close the tank, there is still oxygen between this valve and this valve, which will give you a false sense of security that the oxygen is on. If you have a sick child and you go to hook them on, you turn the meter, you see your number going up, you can hear and feel the flow of oxygen, you hook it up, and you turn your back and you start taking care of your patient. But because this valve is closed, there's no longer any oxygen coming through the patient end. So to avoid that false sense of security, make sure that your tank is actually open.
So you won't hear that noise once it's actually hooked up. So make sure that that you just have to always make sure that your oxygen tank is on. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
To start off, every day you should check that your bulb is working by testing it on a blade. You can also test it by pressing down and it'll light up. If one day you find that it's not lighting up, you need to change the batteries and or the bulb. Each should be stocked in the drawer right next to the laryngoscope. Take out your batteries, tap it, your bulb cartridge will come out. Remove the plastic cap, take out the bulb, open your new bulb, replace it into the cartridge, replace the cap, put the whole assembly back into the handle. Always, after you've replaced a battery or a bulb or both, check it before you leave it, and that's why. That one was not in tight enough.